So this is a death mask of Oliver Cromwell. And Oliver Cromwell, I suppose, he's an infamous character in Irish history. And I suppose some people wonder, why do we have it? Why are you displaying that? It's part of history. He's a synonymous figure with Irish history, particularly here in Clonmel and Drogheda and places like. The reason I particularly am interested in this, it's not because of who it is, it's because of what it is. And I just find the whole idea of the death mask fascinating. Death masks go all the way back to prehistory. I suppose the most famous one we know of will be the death mask of Tutankhamun, which everybody knows it represents Egyptian history. Coming up into the period where Cromwell was around the 1600s, death masks were used from memory. So they didn't have photographs. Portrait paintings were expensive, so a lot of people would have got them made from memory. Cromwell's wasn't actually made from memory or for the love of him. It was made to make effigies. And effigies are basically life-size replicas of an individual that they would sacrificially kill again. So they would have been used to burn in certain towns around, celebrate his passing around England and stuff like that. So that's why his death mask was actually made, not because they wanted to honour him or in any sense of the word. Death masks, I suppose, coming up closer to Victorian periods, because they had photographs, were used more as kind of an intriguing object to have. They were used more as kind of an interesting commodity, nothing to do with, spiritualism like Egyptian people or anything like that. So I just find personally, we share the same intrigue that the Victorians did. We're fascinated with the face. The human brain is actually wired to recognise emotion on a face. When we look at a skeleton in a museum, we go, ah yeah, skeleton, we recognise that. But when you see a face, it connects you. It takes the time period from the 1600s when he was around to us, and it shortens it dramatically, where we see a person and we can put a face to history, and it's not just flat in a book anymore.
And this is a replica?
This is kind of a copy of a copy. So it's made of fiberglass, so it probably dates from the 1930s. Like, it's still very good. You can still see his eyes, his eyebrows. But if you look at the original in the museum in England, in London, I think it's the British Museum, they have the original, which was made of wax. I mean, the detail on that, you can see his pores, you can see every hair in his face. It's worth a look online. It's absolutely fascinating.
But in the meantime, we have this.
This is going to do us. It'll do us. It is very interesting to look at the man who has a lot to answer for, I suppose you could say.